Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is quick session on domestic violence. There's been a number of calls and Facebook messages and also contacts that I've had with people who are going through some form of marital problems or domestic violence. Okay. Now, I want to give you a few tips and things because I've had to deal with this over and over again, and it's the same thing that crops up. The most important thing is, my friend, most likely it's going to be the sisters who are going through this, but there are men who also go through this, okay? Sometimes men go through abuse from a wife, but most of the time it's sisters who get abused by husbands, okay? Now, what should you do? You're probably thinking that you're alone, okay? And you're thinking, oh my God, if I tell others, what will they think? And I want to try and contain it myself. I want to try and deal it with it myself. You're probably making a big mistake, okay, in containing it yourself. Because I've recently had a few calls from people who've kept it quiet for a year or year and a half, okay? This also applies to people who've got, let's say, for example, you're suspecting your husband or your wife of, flirting with somebody else, okay, or with somebody else. How long should you stay quiet, or what should you do? Well, okay, fine. If somebody's made a mistake, then you initially straight away might say something to them, say that, don't do it again. I'll give you a chance, okay? That's fine. But how long are you going to stay quiet? If you allow abuse to go on and on and on, the person who's abusing you will get used to this. It becomes a norm for them. So if somebody's hitting you or somebody's abusing you or somebody's verbally, sometimes it's verbal abuse and sometimes mental abuse, okay? If they're doing that and you stay quiet or you try and keep peace, which is a good thing, but if you do it too long, without informing anyone, they get used to it and they carry on doing it and they'll carry on, repeating the same thing and they'll get worse at it. I had a call from a sister who, I'm not going to give you a location or name or anything, but it was in the UK. A sister called me out desperately and her husband was beating her up and her in-laws were also ganging up and making her feel that she is the one who's the muck-up. All right. And, when I spoke to the sister, my heart went out for her. Here you've got a British-born girl who's cooking, cleaning, getting everything done for them. And on top of that, they give her abuse and they tell her she's in the wrong because she's changing the husband, she's changing the lifestyle of the house. And whenever she goes out, there's always a curfew on her. There's always a chase where she's going, what she's doing. Recently, I got another call from another sister, okay? She actually came to see me with her brother, with the mahram, and again, the same same pattern, all right? Tabs on her when she's doing nothing. She's actually doing nothing. And on top of that, her husband's abusing her. I've got another call where there was an illicit relationship that the husband actually made, and he had a girlfriend, and it wasn't a girlfriend from a normal girl, it was actually a married woman. Can you believe this? So the woman is actually married that he's seeing, is adultery. The woman has got kids as well, la ilaha illallah, okay? And because her husband is going abroad and working, this guy is basically committing adultery. Now, the worst thing about this is, I want to say this is, and I want to give you a measure about this, is these guys get away with it. Why? Because they feel no one's going to do anything about it. Do you understand? Now, you as a girl, or I'm talking to sisters now, you're probably thinking that if I tell people all the thing, blah, blah, I want to hide it, I want to try and sort it out myself. But the first thing that your family says the day you break the news to them, the first thing they say to you, why did you not tell us before? Okay? Same with any men who are going through abuse. If you're going through abuse and if you haven't told your family members, the first thing your family members will say, why did you not tell them before? Because if you had told people before, it wouldn't have escalated. people would have been able to get in, and people can actually deal with the matter early on, and it's a lot better, it's a lot easier to sort it out. If you've got one abuse or two abuses that have happened and you step in, it's easier to control it and do damage control than 10 abuses, 20 abuses, right? My God, can you believe what people are doing out there, right? These horrible people is horrible. I mean, I seriously, man, I really get worked up with these people. I really get worked up, right? But if you don't get family members in, who's going to be there to protect you? Who's going to be there to give you advice, to try and step in and say, what are you doing? Now look, one thing that stops people from doing this is shame. Shame and guilt. You've got to understand this. The person who's abusing or who's doing something wrong will fear, if he doesn't fear Allah, if she doesn't fear Allah, they will at least have the decency to fear the shame and guilt on this earth in front of other people. Do you understand where I'm coming from? All right? So with the moment you inform your family members and they come in, it's a guilt, it's a shame. Oh my God, I've done this wrong to my wife, or I've done this wrong to my husband, right? And, it's the shame stops you. Now, what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? He said, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِ فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you do not have shame, you might as well do whatever you want. It's a hadith of Bukhari, right? Let me repeat that for you. If you do not have shame, you might as well do whatever you want. Now, it's not a license from the Prophet ﷺ to do what you want, but the Prophet ﷺ is making a point. The people who lose shame and guilt, if they're not guilty of people knowing what they're doing, if they're not shameful of what they're doing, then you know what? They'll end up doing whatever they want. That's the worst you can get out of people. Now, early abusers still have shame. They have guilt. Even late abusers, people who've done abuse for some time, they still have guilt. All right? The guilt is the thing. Let's say, for example, one family member found out. Some people will be guilty. Some might not. Let's say 10 family members find out. 5 find out. The guilt builds up. All right? The power you have to stop people from abusing, if it's not the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, is at least to use the fear and shame they have on this earth for people and people finding out. At least that's one way of stopping these people. I know you can go to police and you can report it, okay? So if you want to go to that level and you want to get police involved, that's up to you, okay? You take your own measures. Whenever you want to get police involved, you get police involved. But a lot of us will say, you know what, I don't want to get into police, because once you involve police, it goes to another level. A lot of people are scared what will happen to their family, shame, dignity. There's a lot of baggage and things you're going to have to deal with. Now, but if you really think the abuse is really bad, please call the police, straight away. That's your choice. You need to do that, right? Call the authorities. But if it's something you can contain and it's not that bad, then you need to get family members involved and you need to get them early. Now, right now, I know there are sisters listening to this, brothers listening to this, and abuse is going on. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be mental abuse. You need to talk to someone. You need someone to come into your life, speak to you, speak to the other person. Tell them, look, what are you doing, guy? What are you doing? I mean, tell me this, right? Why does someone need to hit somebody else? If someone's giving you verbal abuse, right? Why can't you just stick it to verbal for verbal? Why do you have to go physical? I'm not giving a license for verbal abuse. All I'm trying to say is that why does it have to escalate to physical abuse? That's what I mean. What don't these people have shame of like hitting somebody else? Why do you have to hit to get your point across? Okay? There are ways that you can put a person in their place by just using your tongue in a respectful way, right? For example, if you say, right, let's say for example, if you say to your abuser, say, I'm sorry, stop there right now, stop it. If you don't stop, I will have to escalate this matter. If you don't stop, I'm going to have to inform so-and-so about this, and I'm serious about it, and I'm going to do it, right? Just saying that will really, start knocking out. If the person says, yeah, go on, tell him, go and tell him. I mean, look, you're not alone. You don't have to go through this alone. You've got people you can talk to. Go and speak to people. Bring them along, right? If it doesn't work with a few people, bring other people along, right? Now, I want to say this to you. If somebody raises their hand and hits somebody else, right, what did you achieve from that? What actually did you achieve? Haven't you made the situation worse? Right? One thing I want to say to you, brothers and sisters, is don't try and react when you're angry. Try and calm yourselves down and then react when you're calm. Okay? Try and give your mouth peace, whatever it is, when you're calm. Because when you're angry, what will happen is you're going to start saying or doing something which you're going to regret later. Right? Brothers, especially, please. You know, when you hit someone, especially brothers, I know sisters can do this too, but brothers especially, you've just mashed it up for yourself. You've just mashed it up for the future, because you're going to have to live with this right now, and you're going to have to face the consequences of that person repeatedly saying, you know, you hit me that day. You hit me like this. That's going to be a dark mark on your history. Bruv, don't do it. Just back off, just move off, calm down, and then give your response. Now, you know, this tongue, it can really hurt. I understand that. You don't have to hurt people to get your message across. You can just put them in their place. You can use Quran and Hadith, put people in their place. If they don't want to listen to that, talk about people on this earth. Say, I'm going to call so-and-so, and do it. Just do it. And get them in there. Now, the next thing is, look, I want to say to you, if you want to stop the abuse and so on, people have to be put into their place. They need others to tell them, hey guy, this is not on. This is unacceptable. This can't happen. And you know what? If they don't stop, you've got to escalate to the next thing, because people can go crazy. Seriously, I mean, I've got one case, the guy picked up an iron, right? An iron, and he swung it, hit her, and he left her a permanent scar on her forehead. A permanent scar on her forehead. The abuse had been going on for months. She did not tell anyone. It was just them two. They were having the arguments. They were having the fights. And this Muslim sister told me about this. She got out of it that day because she called the police on him on that day. And it was late, obviously, because she had to be scarred on her forehead because of that abuse, right? But it's too late. You've escalated that much. You haven't told anyone. But look at the guy. That guy actually picked up an iron, swung it. I mean, just crazy, crazy. People start with, you know, they're hitting someone, throwing things, all right, or smacking someone down. There's a person told me recently, they grabbed the sister by the neck over here until she's choking. Her sister told me this face to face. She's choking. Her thing is, what kind of man are you? What have you got in yourself? I mean, seriously, if you had any decency, any shame, right, you would have thought that that girl is the daughter of another man. Okay? Just like your mother was a daughter of another man. Your sister's a daughter of another man. Your own daughter is the daughter of you, and you wouldn't want that to happen to your mother, to your sister, to your daughter. What lowliness have you got to do any of that? To get physical like that. And you know, sometimes it's mental. People mentally abuse and abuse and abuse until people get stressed out. They can't take this anymore. I just want to tell you, brothers and sisters, you're not alone. Speak out. Let the community come together. Let the families come together. Let friends come together. Get help. Let people come. If it's really bad, like I said, call the police. Fine. But if you think you want to contain it within your own house, then call people over. Let people come and speak to them. And I'm telling you, most occasions, these guys will be very remorseful of what they've done. And inshallah, abuse will slowly come to an end. But to have a long-term solution to this, you need to get these people to go through some counseling, some therapy, some way of maybe it could even be the family talking to them again and again. There are a number of measures you can take, but this simple, video message is for all those people. I don't know what you're going through. I'm making du'as for you. I had to make this video because I just had within a week a couple of these calls, and it's horrible. It's horrible of what people are going through. No one wants to talk about it, that is going on, and people don't know on the inside they're making the same repeated mistakes that other people have made, which is you're not telling anyone, all right? The next thing is you actually need to, why you need to tell people as well is because you want to keep your sanity, my friend. Sister, brother, you want to keep your sanity, because if you keep it all inside, it's going to fester, and eventually it's going to blow up, and you won't be the same person again after 1 year. It will take time to put you in places, put you straight as well, as in fix you up. You're going to be messed up if you allow the abuse to go on for long. Your mental state, your abilities, your way of working, everything's going to be affected. Your appetite could be affected. Your sleeping pattern could be affected. You could have hair loss. You could even be shaking. I mean, one sister told me recently she was shaking in front of her husband. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, because he's abusing, right? So I just want to, I've given this message out. Hopefully, please, you speak out. Now, you can't just come just to, every top person out there. No. Speak to the closest people you've got to you, and speak to others as well, and get together and get down to the problem. And inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we can then sort things out. May Allah Azza wa Jal, save all of us from any mental abuse, physical abuse, any kind of abuse. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us all relief, and may Allah Azza wa Jal bring about hidayah and guidance to all of us. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.